Do you know what I just told you? The message I communicated probably escaped most of you. Communication through hand motions is something we do all the time without even thinking about it. For most of us, it's a supplement to spoken language. But for many deaf and hearing impaired people, sign language isn't just a supplement, it's a primary mode of communication. I'm not an expert in sign language, but I've been interested in it for several years. My father's the treasurer for a group of deaf and hearing impaired people, and I've attended some functions with that group. At those times, I had the chance to learn bits and pieces of sign language. I also had the chance to learn more in researching for this speech. In this speech, I'd like to first give you a bit of background about sign language. Then I'd like to teach you how to sign one important sentence, the one I started with. You are my friend. By sharing this sentence with you, I hope to help you see that sign language is just as expressive as spoken language. Let's start with a little background. There are two broad categories of sign language used in America. One is signed English, and the other is American Sign Language. Both use most of the same hand gestures. Signed English usually uses one hand gesture for each spoken word and presents them in the same order. On the other hand, American Sign Language, also called ASL, doesn't always have exactly one sign for each spoken word and might present them in a different order. This distinction will become clear during the demonstration. No one knows exactly how many people use sign language as their primary language today. The National Center for Health Statistics estimates that about 20 million Americans have some sort of hearing impairment. Depending on the exact definition of deafness, about 500,000 to 2 million of these people are deaf. Most sources agree that American Sign Language is the fourth most used language in the United States today, after English, Spanish, and French. Some people think that sign language is a primitive substitute for spoken language, but in fact, sign language is just as rich and expressive as spoken language. For example, Karen Nakamura states in the online Deaf Resources Library that American Sign Language should not be considered in any way to be a broken, mimed, or gestural form of English. According to Nakamura, ASL is a complex, full, and natural language in its own right, with its own beautiful grammar. Keeping these points in mind about sign language, let's return to the sentence I started with and see if we can learn the signs for you are my friend. First, make the sign for you with your right hand, extend your index finger, and just point at a classmate. The word R is actually interesting because it starts with the letter R. To make the sign for the letter R, extend your index finger and wrap your next finger around it. This is the sign for the letter R, and now we're going to make the word R. Just put your fingertips under your chin and arc outward. My is easy. It's just an open right hand. Put your palm inward on your chest. Friend's a little trickier. It takes both hands. Extend your index finger on each hand now with your other fingers folded down. And now bend each index finger. Now you're going to hook together, hanging the back and knuckles of your right hand outward from your left hand. And now reverse. Then back and knuckles of your left hand hanging outward from your right hand. Now please tell a classmate these four signs slowly. You are my friend. And now try to sign the whole sentence quickly. You are my friend. What you just learned was signed English. In American Sign Language, the word are is generally implied, so you wouldn't need to use it. So the sentence in ASL would usually just be, you're my friend. In closing, I hope you learned that sign language is just as expressive as spoken language. Think back to the way we signed friend. That sign isn't an arbitrary combination of empty symbols. It's a visual depiction of the way friends really are, interdependent, interlocked. In addition to learning how to sign the sentence, you are my friend, I hope you also take away from this speech a new appreciation for the complexities of sign language.